This is the video for making mince pies. So the equipment you'll need to get ready before you start the process. You'll need your butter-rich pastry, which you've made already. You'll need a rolling pin, soft flour, mince meat, sugar. You will need 2 cutters, one for the base, which is slightly larger than the one for the top, which is fluted. You will need cases. These are the slightly shallower variation which you need for mince pies. And you'll also need a pastry brush with some egg wash. So the first thing that we're going to do is roll out the pastry. You need to make sure this is rested for at least 15 minutes and that it is a nice texture. You don't want it to be too soft. I've flicked pastry over the counter. I'm now putting it on my rolling pin, also over the top of the pastry, so that it starts to cover everything. Make sure you always have enough pastry on the counter to ensure that the pastry does not stick. Enough flour everywhere. Roll in different directions to ensure that you get a consistent thickness. As you roll, the pastry will start to use the flour underneath. So it's important to check underneath to make sure there is flour. If not, you can just very carefully get some of the flour from around the outside, and then you will notice when you roll it, it starts to spread a lot easier. We're going to roll it to about a pound coin thickness. So you need to make sure that it's consistent thickness all the way across. The way to do that is to just look at the edges, make sure the edges all the way around are the same thickness. So just ensure that you are getting a consistent roll. Again, I'm just going to check underneath. If I feel that it's sticking, I'm going to get some more of the flour underneath. If I feel I haven't got enough flour, just a little bit more on the counter. If it starts to feel tacky on top of the pastry, you can put a little more on your rolling pin, sprinkle that over the top of the pastry so that it covers it. Not too much though, too much flour and it will start to crack and it'll be very hard to use. So just make sure that you don't use too much flour. And when you get towards the end, you need to make sure that the pastry is a consistent thickness all the way across. So just ensure that we've got the same thickness here as we have here, as we have here. So about a pound coin thickness is what you're looking for. And then what we're going to do, once we've got that, we're going to cut out half of the dough in a base and half in the tops. Try to get the cutter as close as possible to the previous circle. In that way, you'll get as much out of the first roll as you can. We don't want any wastage, so anything that we don't quite roll out this time, we will put into a ball and we'll roll out a bit later on after we've rechilled it. So you can see I have my bases there and I have my lids. With this pastry that I have left, I'm just going to work into a little ball. I'm going to flatten it out into a disc again, and I'm going to let it rest in the fridge, wrapped in paper, while I put these mince pies together. So again, we let the gluten relax on that. So the next stage, we get our cases, and we need to start to line them with the bases, like so. So you just place them onto the case, then gently press them into the corners, ensuring we press all of the air out. There's no air trapped in beneath. Make sure that the size of your pastry fits nicely on the bottom. We are going to need to use this flat edge here to stick the lids to, so it needs to be big enough size. So once you have put all of the bases into the tins, we're then going to put the filling in. So we need to ensure consistency, so we need to make sure that we put the same amount of filling in each mince pie. So 25 grams is how much you need per mince pie. Make sure that you fill all of them consistently. So, once you have filled all of your mince pie bases with 25 grams, we then need to put the lids on. So, very simply, just with the egg wash and a pastry brush, very carefully, just egg wash around the side of the mince pie and place the lid on top. And then gently press down like so. So just again, very carefully egg wash around the outside. And then press on the top. And then on the very top of the mince pie, we just pop a little cross, like so. And then we bake them. So once you've done that to all of them, we can then bake them in the oven. So when you have finished all of your mince pies and now ready to bake, you need to bake them at 200 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. So to start with, we're going to set the timer for 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, we're going to check them for colour and turn the tray around. We're looking for them to be a nice golden brown colour all over. When the mince pies are done, they will be a nice golden brown colour on the top. This will take approximately 20 minutes in the oven.